सेशन होगा तब आप शायद स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
यस यस।
तब तक बाकी लोग मैम को ओके, प्रकाश सर भी ज्वाइन किए हैं सेशन डायरेक्ट फ्रॉम हांगकांग। मैम जो जो ज्वाइन करते आ रहा है उनको इंट्रोड्यूस कर देता हूँ।
ठीक है।
आनंद सर is joining from on board ship. He is presently chief engineer on board.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so Parth is a chief engineer and also runs a maritime supply company based out of Bhavnagar
Okay.
and called DMET 5. So Utkarsh is also a chief engineer who is currently in uh, overseeing commercial in MOL in Mumbai, based out of Mumbai. और बाकी
Okay.
अपने अपने आपको थोड़ा बहुत इंट्रोड्यूस कर देंगे लोग। फतेहबीर को आप जानते हो, फतेह ज्वाइन किया है।
Yes yes yes.
प्रकाश सर ज्वाइन किए थे। प्रकाश सर इज अ डायरेक्टर इन फ्लीट मैनेजमेंट,
Mm-hmm.
ज्वाइनिंग फ्रॉम हांगकांग, तो अभी दोबारा ज्वाइन कर लेंगे। अनिल जोशी सर और वेरी सीनियर टू अस, ही इज ज्वाइनिंग फ्रॉम दिल्ली। ही रन्स अ हेल्थ केयर स्टार्टअप नाउ कॉल्ड
Okay.
ब्रिंग।
Mm-hmm.
Stayed for like maybe 2 decades and then I have been doing a lot of work in healthcare for last 2 decades.
Okay.
So and हम दो और भी लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे धीरे धीरे। उत्कर्ष तब तक जब तक बाकी लोग ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, विल स्टार्ट इन 2-3 मिनट्स, तब तक तुम तो काफी कमर्शियल में ये सब चीजें हैंडल करते हो, फ्यूल एंड ये सब। तो अभी क्या ट्रेंड चल रहा है उसमें, और तुम्हारे कोई स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है इसमें मैम के लिए, तो वी कैन स्टार्ट विद दैट एंड प्रेजेंटेशन के पहले, क्योंकि तुम बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोफाइल में हो जहाँ यू डील विद लॉट ऑफ सच स्टफ राइट नाउ।
So basically, in this profile, I'm only dealing with the bunker suppliers. I mean, in different regions, कहाँ पे क्या cost है. Port Louis is comparatively costly as compared to Houston bunker, and we are also facing few challenges with regards to the fuel oil stability issues. We are adding additives, and at the moment, we are experimenting with different fuel oil additives, Octamar, Adeco, Emergy, and we are trying out to find which is the best additive that will be suitable for the fuel oil.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also interested to learn a lot from ma'am in this regard.
And what's about if we are maintaining a good proper temperature in the storage tank as well as
हाँ सर, आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
आवाज नहीं आ रही है?
हाँ सर, अभी now it is better, sir.
What about if
आवाज
we maintaining the proper temperature of the storage tank? Suppose in a storage tank we are maintaining temperature between 35 to 40, or let's say 45, max to max 45. The spalting content in the bunker in the storage tank, it will be very high in the quantity, and which is very affecting the to formation of the sludge. So temperature criteria is also
Yes.
very important.
Temperature is exceedingly important in VLFO.
Yes.
Underheating,
very important.
yes, underheating creates waxing, and overheating will create fuel aging, that is distillate sludge.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Utkarsh, where are you based?
I'm basically based from Mumbai, ma'am.
Mumbai, okay, okay. And you supply bunkers only in India, or you also do the, as you said, across the globe?
At the moment, our vessels are trading mostly, they are loading in US and discharging at the Dahej.
Mm-hmm.
So we have exploring at options at Cape Town and Port Louis. But considering Cape Town, they are only allowing the bunkers at port. So due to the port congestion, we are looking the possibilities at Port Louis. Port Louis is relatively costlier, but then there we have very less waiting time. And The next option we are taking, actually Port Louis, we are only taking the minimum bunker as required to reach US, and in US we are topping up to around 90%.
And in India, you don't take bunkers because you got a lot of GST and all that put together.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Right. And under what company name do you operate?
I'm working with Mitsui OSK line, MOL.
Acha, MOL you're working, right.
Ma'am, here the log join करते जाएंगे. I guess we should start with the presentation.
So when you are, Mr. Utkarsh, when you are looking at these additives, are you making the decision, or is your foreign office making the decision for these vessels?
Actually, we have our ship manager sitting in the Singapore. We call Malta.
Malta, yes.
Basically, they analyze all the different additives, and on the basis of that, they propose us this their recommendation, and then we forward it the same to the charterers.
Right.
So at the moment, I believe the last mail which I checked, they are preferably they are going with Octamar HF10 Plus.
Yes.
They are saying
that is currently rated one. I mean, currently known as the most effective VLSFO stabilizer.
Yes, ma'am. So earlier, I believe we were using Adeka Eco Royal and then Emergy 222. But then they decided to switch to Octamar HF10. I believe Octamar is slightly costlier also as compared to Adeka. But
yes.
Still,
what that comment is right. Liter wise, we may be more expensive, but if you want to calculate the true cost, you need to look at the treat rate, like what it costs me to treat 1 metric tons of fuel, and then you may notice that the cost is quite similar.
It is, I believe, 1:15 something, if I remember. I need to check the dosing ratio.
The Octamar is, I think, 1:20, and Emergy 222 is 1:15.
And Mr. Anand, where are you based?
Currently, I'm sailing as a chief engineer.
Okay, you're sailing, okay. And for which company are you sailing?
Anglo-Eastern.
Okay, Anglo-Eastern.
Yeah.
We have with us, I guess, Prakash sir also. So Prakash sir is welcome, Prakash sir. So he's, I guess you must have know him. Like he's director in fleet management, and he's based out of Hong Kong.
Good morning, Mr. Prakash.
Good morning. Sorry, I'm not able to start my video.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm not able to start my video.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
So Prakash sir has done some extraordinary work in green fuel for the last decade.
All right.
And he's one of the revolutionaries. There are like people in fleet management who are doing such an extraordinary job in green fuel. And currently he's based out of Hong Kong. And
actually, fleet has I think the office in Hong Kong is the largest.
Yes, one of the largest, right.
I think in Bombay also you have now fleet, because you've taken over doing for TW World also, you're doing their own, managing their vessels.
Correct. We have two offices there, one in Andheri and one in Nerul.
Yes.
CBD. In CBD, we have a large facility. And Andheri also, before we had 2 floors, now we have already extended to 4 floors.
Right.
So mainly, by my job, I came into this methanol thing because my clients were developing methanol, so we went into methanol engine, and now I'm working largely on ammonia.
All right. So you're working with green ammonia now?
Yes, with Sumitomo and many of the Sumitomo, Maersk, ABS, some shipyards, and now also MPA Singapore, and government of Georgia in Savannah.
Okay, wow, okay.
and on US West Coast
Mm-hmm.
with the port of Stockton.
Right. But Mr. Prakash, do you think green ammonia will come in the next 5-6 years? Because I feel the infrastructure is still very, very far out.
This is a very good question because nobody has an answer as of now.
Right, right.
But if you go to, you've got now only two options, methanol and ammonia.
Right.
LNG, whatever you'll say, will be always gray, never become green. So neither the methanol, okay, I'm not supporting ammonia, but methanol institute today, which is, methanol institute is a place which is connected with all producers, all users, everyone.
Right.
Everyone has to be part of methanol institute. They can give you figure until 2030, how much green methanol or e-methanol is available.
Right.
I was sitting in a forum at HKUST this Monday on 22nd, where all the methanol stakeholders were called by HKUST.
Right.
I was also in the panel there with Methanol Institute, Maersk, Methanex, one of the largest producers of methanol.
Right.
It's a very difficult question. So for ammonia, I can say that I have a pathway to 2050 with how much green ammonia will be present, and near so estimate cost also as going to be at least half the cost of methanol.
Oh, wow.
Because we are, in our forum, we are running 3 consortium. So we have the producers, we have the users, we have the port, we have the store tank owners. All together we are sitting. Same time we are developing the infrastructure for production of ammonia, green ammonia.
Right.
So, people are trying to stop it. And until now, our consortiums are maintaining a policy of, keeping low. Don't talk too much, keep low.
Right.
Because it is inevitable, you can't stop it.
True.
It's only fuel which does not have carbon.
And with the Mediterranean ECA coming in also, you have to have alternatives available.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, if I talk, we can talk. We're working on this now. We started in 2021.
Yes.
And now almost, more than 3 years, 4 years closing in soon. So we have been developing infrastructure we are not talking much because many people talk negative, but once it becomes necessity, you have no option, you will come to ammonia.
Right, right.
And personally, I have been working with ammonia since 94.
Oh, wow.
And
For
I
30 years.
Yes, I have sailed on ammonia ships.
Okay.
I have built ammonia ships. I work very, very closely with Trans Ammonia.
Okay.
They are the largest transporter of ammonia in the world, with major stakes everywhere in the world on ammonia.
Right.
So I had a big discussion in GasTech in Houston this year, last month, when people were talking negative. I asked them, do you know ammonia? Has anybody sailed an ammonia ship? Has anybody handled ammonia? Please talk, otherwise don't talk.
Right.
So negativity is there a lot, but facts are not correct. There has been no single accident at sea on ammonia or at any terminal on ammonia.
Very impressive.
Sorry,
very
please
impressive.
continue with your presentation. I wasn't testing it because VLSFO is going to stay. Let ammonia come or go, methanol come and go. VLSFO, fossil fuel, never go. And the problems which we are facing day to day, we look forward to people like you for guidance, where, suddenly my main engine is gone, all unit finished. And what went wrong? So, yes, I was looking forward to join this discussion today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. And ma'am, you can start with your presentation.
Okay. All right. Mr. Pratik, thank you for the opportunity to talk today to a prestigious set of DMETs. And I will keep to my time as given. By 1 o'clock, I will finish. And if you have a question and answers, depending how Mr. Pratik wants to handle, you can talk in the middle of the presentation or at the or at the end, whichever way. Okay. So basically, I'm based in Bombay. I've been working with fuel treatment chemicals since 2002. I basically represent InnoSpec for in India. And since 2009, I've been representing their marine additives, which is runs by the name of Octoma. So basically, one thing I want to say that, a fuel treatment chemical is not a firefighting product. You don't use it because you have an issue on board the vessel with either VLSFO or HFO or MGO or with your biofuel. It is actually a management tool to improve onboard efficiency. It's basically a technology, it's not a consumable, and it has a fabulous impact on reducing your emission and saving the environment. So we always encourage people, please understand that a fuel treatment chemical is not firefighting. You should be using it continuously, irrespective whether you have or you don't have issue. So this is one concept that I try to take it across to all our customers, which I've been doing since 2009. And today we have a very large base based out of India because I take care of the Indian market. And your ship can go anywhere in the world. I have access to 18 warehouses all over the world where I can supply the vessels. Now, today, we are basically going to be speaking very, very clearly about VLSFO only. Each bunker, you can actually make a separate presentation. And in VLSFO today, we also have the concept of B30. So B30 means up to 30% of biofuels can be added in VLSFO. So whether you're using VLSFO or B30, the product will cover the issues. Now, like all bunker, there are only two issues that each bunker has: stability and combustion. So when we have started using VLFO, please see the VLFO and the HFO. In HFO, whenever we had a stability issue, it was always asphaltene sludge. Asphaltene sludge means heavy molecule sludge. But in VLFO, when you have sludge, you need to identify, and that is the aim I'm going to try to achieve in this presentation. The aim is the sludge asphaltene, that is heavy molecule, or is the sludge distillate from the middle distillate, because VLFO has a very high blend of middle distillate, or is the sludge because of waxing? Your chief engineer must be able to identify, because each three of them have a different source of addressing. And if the chief engineer understands this, he will actually handle 80% of his stability issue on board. So in VLFO, we're going to discuss stability, that is asphaltene stability, distillate stability, waxes, and we're going to discuss what's combustion. If your combustion is good, you will save the environment. So this is basically what we're going to be discussing. So we go straight into the asphaltene stability. If you notice, HFO and VLFO are there. The only difference between HFO and VLFO is they both follow ISO 8217. The only difference is that VLFO has a higher blend of middle distillate. The idea is to achieve 0.5% sulfur, nothing else. They're only blending a higher blend of, and middle distillates can be anything. It can be cutter stock, it can be biofuel, it can be diesel, it can be any stream from any industry which is giving you a hydrocarbon. Okay, so what we have seen that the paraffins create, so basically the middle distillates are known as paraffins and the heavy fuels are known as aromatic. So to understand the relation between the two, you take a magnet. A magnet has a north and south. So on a large table, like a dining table or a conference table, you put 1,000 magnets and they will be in sync. There'll be no issue. You change one magnet in the middle, he will start disturbing the other magnets. You come back after 2 hours, that single magnet that you've turned around on that large table has disturbed the other magnet. And after a week, it would have disturbed a larger portion. This is what paraffins do. They keep on nudging the heavy molecules. They keep on nudging the asphaltene, the aromatics. And so what happens when people take fuel in P1, S1, they say, Ritu, in P1, we had no issue. In S1, we have sludge. It's not because the fuel has become unstable. It is the paraffin keep on nudging the asphaltenes. And that is what they become unstable and unstable. So basically, the paraffins create a very challenging environment for asphaltene. This is very important to understand. So people say, how do I know I have in my VLFO a higher blend? So in your VLFO, you have a blend of middle distillate. But if you have a higher blend of middle distillate, there's a possibility you'll have much more instability coming into the fuel. So they say, how do you recognize that our VLFO has a higher blend of things? So it's very simple. A paraffinic fuel, the main characteristic, low viscosity. So you're buying 380 CST and you land up with 80 CST. You know you have a higher blend of paraffin. If you have a density, low density, like you have 0.94, 0.95, you know you have a higher blend of middle distillates in your VLFO. If your pour point is high, let's say 18, 20, 21, 22, you know that you have a higher blend. This screen is very important for you to understand that when your chief engineer gets the VLFO on board the vessel, read the bunker report. If your viscosity is low, density is low, pour point is high, there's a high possibility you'll have an instability issue coming in. So now we are going straight to the asphaltenes. So what are asphaltenes? Asphaltenes are heavy molecules that are floating around in the fuel. And if these asphaltenes are basically polar happy, that means when they see each other, they have a tendency to come. They come together and they bounce off. They come together, they bounce off. But in VLFO, when we have a higher blend of middle distillates coming, or the refinery has done excessive refinery or excessive processing of the heavy molecules that are blended in your VLFO. So when they see each other, they come together, but they don't bounce off. They join, and they keep joining, and they form larger blobs of things. They sink to the bottom, and that is what your tank bottom sludge is. So basically, the concept here is that the asphaltene sludge in your VLFO is not bad fuel. It is just these heavy molecules that have coagulated or clumped together, and because of gravity, they're sunk to the bottom. So what does an additive do? Here, the additive plays a very vital role. Irrespective, if your asphaltene sludge is 1 year old, 1 week old, or even 2 years old, you can treat it. That concept must be very clear. The asphaltene sludge is not bad fuel, and asphaltene sludge, irrespective of its age, can be treated. So you put the additive in, those yellow dots are the additive. She will mimic, will penetrate the sludges, and she will separate. So asphaltene sludge can be treated irrespective of the age, and the fuel can be burned safely. Okay. Now, how do I know that my asphaltenes are stable? There's a test called RSN, or separability number, which tells you whether your asphaltenes are stable. This is a very important test. And this test, most of our customers in India, as a practice, do it for all their bunkers. It is not part of your ISO 8217. So you have to request for this test to be done. Now, this test gives you a number. This number has to be less than 5. So if this number is less than 5, that tells you that my asphaltenes are stable. So if you're having sludge in your purifier and your RSN is stable, you know that is not asphaltene sludge. It may be distillate or it may be waxes. Okay, these test tubes I've taken from Vishwa Lab. They have done this testing. And you'll notice that Vishwa Lab has done the test, and within 6 minutes, you can notice that the asphaltenes have fallen out of the fuel solution and they settle to the bottom. So for 6 minutes, they have noticed that this fuel is unstable. And with our additive, which is your HF10 plus, which Mr. Utkarsh said that they're using on board of their fleet at now, you can notice that even up to 60 minutes, the fuel is stable. So a good additive will keep the asphaltene stable irrespective of the VLFO content, whether she's got a low viscosity, low density, or high pour point. She will keep. And our dispersants keep the fuel stable for 5 to 6 months minimum. So this is the power of how. So that's why we tell people, this is not a firefighting. You don't wait for the sludge to get generated. The cost of treatment is less than $1. It's a negligible cost. You must treat all your bunkers continuously, because if your RSN is, say, 3, and you say, okay, it's below 5 is stable, but if you keep your fuel for 1 month, 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, that RSN will keep increasing. Your 3 will become 3.2, 3.5, 4. So the question is that after 2 months, you may get sludge. So please, we tell people, asphaltene sludge, asphaltene molecules can be kept stable and treated irrespective and burned safely. Okay. The other thing we have seen, now this is, I've taken Vishwa Labs report. Please see that this is a 2019 report. The RSN is 7.8. And with the treatment of a good dispersant, it becomes 0.1. This is for HFO. For VLFO, you'll notice that a 12.9 RSN, this fuel had to be debunkered, and we told the customer, don't debunker, please put in HF10 plus, and within 2 or 3 days, it'll become stable, because you have to give the additive some time to react if you're going to pour it over the fuel. But if you're going to put it before receiving the bunker, it is treated immediately. Please note 0.2%. This is the power of a good fuel dispersant stabilizer. So she'll always keep the asphaltene stable, you can notice, and the fuel can be stable. Even a 12.9 RSN fuel can be stable for up to 5 to 6 months. Please see this. We have a VLFO batch over here, which has got a 10.8 RSN. That means totally unstable fuel. And you can see the other one, you got 3.95. Now the 3.95 over a period of 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks will cross 5. So you don't need to wait for that instability to come. Treat her at the time of taking bunker. Please see both the things. The beakers are given. You'll notice that the second beaker, after treating, how smooth. You can see the RSN have come down drastically and the fuel has been stable. This is the power of a good additive. So if your fuel is stable, remember one thing, she will burn better. Why will she burn better? Unstable fuel or heavy molecule tend to clog the small natural your injector tips get clogged by these heavy molecules clogs, and your optimization gets skewed. So if you have got a well stabilized, stable dispersed fuel, you'll notice that your injectors are not getting clogged and the optimization is very good. So this is the power. She'll keep the fuel stable and she'll ensure that the optimization is also good. And that is how your combustion will also improve. Good optimization directly impacts good, directly relates to good combustion. So the other thing we've noticed that, people say, I had let the last 5% bunker in my tank because you cannot drain out all your storage tanks. So you have 5% left. And say, we topped it up and the fuel sludged out. We used it after 4 days, it was sludged out. This is something we have noticed over the last 4 years, that if the tank bottom 5% that you're having at your tank bottom and you're topping her with 80 or 85% of fresh VLSFO, and the difference in viscosity is more than 30, that we go back to that table of ours where we have the multiple magnets lying. That is a situation that takes place again. Again, that 5% tank bottom can create instability in your entire fresh bunker, which is stable. So if your chief engineer is taking fuel on board, he must see that he should not have more than 30 CST difference in the 5% tank bottom bunker and the new bunker. If he has more than 5%, there's a good chance that 5% may create instability in the new fresh stable fuel. So that is why don't wait for instability, treat the bunker upfront while taking this thing. Another thing we noticed, that low viscosity. We have noticed that low viscosity VLFO, that means anything below 80 CST has created instability. This is very important. If your bunker report says that your viscosity is below 80 CST, there's a high possibility that your fuel will become unstable very, very soon. So please keep this in mind. Below 80 is a very marker that we have come to conclusion in the last 4 years. Below 80, please get the RSN done, or below 80, ensure that you've treated the fuel, okay? The other thing we noticed that even low density, because paraffins have low viscosity and low density. So even if your density is below 940, you will have a instability issue. So your fuel will turn stable. So these are very good markers. Density below 940 and viscosity below 80 of VLFO will give you a situation where you will have fuel instability. Further, density above 960 has indicated poor combustion, which you have combustion between your piston ring, and your piston ring tend to break. And people say, oh, I have poor combustion because my CLO, cylinder lube oil, detergency is not adequate enough to remove the unburned. That is the issue also, but that is not the main issue. The main issue is poor combustion. So going forward in VLFO stability, please look at the commingling is not more than 30 CST. The viscosity is not below 80. And unfortunately, this appears in 80% of the bunkers people are taking today. So you must treat your bunker to ensure she's stable. If she's stable, she'll burn well. She'll not choke the injector. She'll have better optimization. She'll have better combustion. So this is on the asphaltene sludge that we're talking about. So a lot of people say, my TSP is fine. So why should I worry? TSP is not a good indicator in VLFO stability. We've noticed that when the VLFO is stable, the TSP is good in those bunkers. Where the TSP is not good, those bunkers are stable. So TSP is a very good indicator for HFO, but in VLFO, she has turned a little bit. So in VLFO, we tell people, look at the viscosity, look at the density, look at the pour point, and please treat. So VLFO is slightly misleading, where TSP is slightly misleading for the VLFO bunkers. So we have addressed distillates, we have addressed your asphaltene sludge. Now going to distillate sludge. Now, distillate sludge is not found in HFO, it's only found in VLFO. Distillate sludge is from the middle distillates of the high content of middle distillate in VLFO. So now let's talk about MgO, which is a pure middle distillate first. When you took MgO on board, she was light lemon yellow. But over time, meaning over 4 weeks, 5 weeks, the light lemon yellow would turn dark yellow and she would turn light brown. Basically, MgO by character, she oxidizes in storage. And if you kept her for like 6 months, she would turn even very, very dark brown. Now, unfortunately, if your MgO is aging, you cannot see it in VLFO because VLFO is a dark color fuel. And because of that, you do not know whether your fresh bunkers that you got on board, whether she has aged distillates or no. And aged distillates are unstable. So in your bunker, your viscosity may be low, your density may be low, your pour point may be low, may be high, but your distillate instability is not known. And there's no test. For asphaltene, we have RSN. For distillate, there's no test. So what do people say? You know, Ritu, I had fuel, I had sludge, and I heated it because in HFO, that's what we used to do. If we had sludge in HFO, we would heat and the sludge would vanish. He said, now when I'm heating, the sludge is getting more and more generated. That is it. If you overheat VLFO, she agitates the distillates blend and the fuel will age. So heating accelerates distillate instability in VLFO. So that's what I tell people, you got to heat VLFO correctly. Underheating will create waxing and overheating will create distillate sludge. So what happens when you heat VLFO, the middle distillates get agitated and known as fuel aging, and you create sludge. And distillate sludge, unlike asphaltene sludge, distillate sludge is a chemical reaction. It's called oxidation. And that oxidation is what we need to avoid. So you need to correctly this. And distillate sludge cannot be reversed completely. Like asphaltene sludge can be 100% reversed and the fuel can be used safely and burned safely. Distillate sludge cannot be reverse 100%. It's a very small reversal, but going forward, a good additive will control distillate sludge. So we tell people, please use an additive. You have distillate sludge once created, cannot be treated completely. You will still have clogging in your filters and your purifier. The distillate sludge is something that is to be addressed. And this is a very important slide. This slide tells you the relationship between heating and aging. So we've noticed that when your bunker, your VLFO bunker is heated at 20 degrees, she hardly remains stable for 30 days. When she's heated at 30 degrees, that is a 10 degree higher, she's stable for hardly 15 days. And when she's heated at 40 degrees, which is another 10, she stays stable for only for 10. Can you see? You see how the instability is reducing, and the instability is calculated using RSN, that is your asphaltene instability. So it is very important. Do not overheat. If you overheat, you will create instability. And if you use a good dispersant stabilizer, you please see at 40 degrees, we can keep her stable up to 6 months, So we say for 5 to 6 months stability. This is the power of a good dispersant stabilizer. So it is very important to understand overheating is one of the devils that creates instability in your VLFO, because VLFO has a large blend of middle distillates, and middle distillates don't like to be heated. We never heat MgO. And the moment you heat middle distillate, they will age. They will create that white gum-like substance, which we can't see because VLFO is a dark color fuel. So we cannot see it. So going forward, please ensure that if you have sludge coming out, asphaltene sludge, you can test with RSN. Middle distillate sludge, if you overheat and keep heating the fuel and the sludge is increasing, you know it is distillate sludge. That is the indication of a distillate sludge. Keep heating and the sludge increasing, it's distillate sludge. So in 2020, when VLFO came out, GSA, Japanese Ship Association, that is where your MOL is coming in, Mr. Mishra. They were very upset that they found VLFO very unstable compared to HFO, and they approached Class NK saying, you please find. So Class NK scanned the entire market, whether it be Nico Yuka, their brotherhood thing, whether it be Adorco, whether it be, Drew, whether it be Infinium, whether it be, they scanned the entire market, and they came to a conclusion that there's only one product in the world that addresses 98% of the instability of VLFO. And this is a test done by them, and this is something they shared, and they did this in January 2021. They have done this. So they did a very extensive test. And if you go to the Class NK website, only our product appears. They said it is marked. And the reason our technology is so good, because we are among the top 3 refinery chemical suppliers in the world for fuel treatment. We are very strong. We manufacture, we develop all our products ourselves, we manufacture all our products ourselves, and we sell all our products ourselves. So because we have a very deep research, R&D and technology, we were able to give the right product for VLFO. And I think we were the first company to launch a VLFO product in 2019, because a lot of our customers were testing. But this is the power of a good dispersion stabilizer. You can see the RSN is 8. And with the treatment, it's gone to 0.2 and 0.1. This is the power of a good dispersion stabilizer. So basically, in this VLFO stability, I've just summarized the whole thing, what I've spoken right now. Basically highlighting that if your VLFO has low viscosity, if your VLFO has low viscosity and low density, you will have a instability issue. And you must see that your co-mingling is not more than 30 CST apart, and you cannot help it. 80% of the bunkers have these issues. So you need to treat it. And most importantly, don't use the stabilizer as a firefighting. Don't wait. It costs less than $1 to treat. Please treat her upfront when you're taking the bunker. So we have asphaltene sludge. We have distilled sludge, which we covered. Now we're coming to waxing. Okay. VLFO, if VLFO has pour point above 20 degrees or density below 940 or viscosity below 80 CST, she will wax. She will 100% wax. The thumb rule of storing her 10 degree over the pour point, which everybody follows, this is standard what we followed, all your HFO, does not hold true. Because the WAT, wax appearing temperature, when your VLFO has 80 CST low, 940 density and lower, or pour point 20 degrees high, the VAT is 15 to 30 degrees over the pour point. So if your pour point is 21, you are heating the fuel at 31, your transfer temperature is 31 as per your analysis report. She's actually waxing. And wax crystals keep forming, and the concentration will keep increasing over the storage period. So again, people say, P1 I had no waxing. How in P2? Because when you started using P2 after 4, 5, or 6 weeks, the wax crystals are so much in it that she will wax. And the beauty about waxing is she clogs the purifier. Your filters come out clean. So if you have waxes or you're clogging in your purifier, your filters are coming out clean. You don't need to think. No rocket science. It is waxing. It is not asphaltene or distillate instability. It is waxing because the wax crystal gets pushed through the filter because of the inline pressure in the pipeline. But at the purifier, they get clogged. So your chief engineer, if he's overheating and the heating is creating more sludge, it is distillate. If your filters are clogging and your purifier is clogging, it is asphaltenic. If your filters are coming clear, but your purifier is clogging, it is waxes. This is what your chief engineer has to understand, and you need to treat it. Now, for waxing, even in 2020, this is a report of 2020 by BPS, even they have recognized that the WAT can be as high as 30 degrees over the pour point. That thumb rule of storing 10 degrees at the pour point does not hold true for a low viscosity, low density, high pour point VLFO. Please understand that. And if you come back to me and say, Ritu, my purifiers are clogged, my discharge sludge pipeline is choked, it has got solidified sludge, it is waxes because your filters are coming out clear. It is waxes. So the thing is, there is no additive that can treat waxing. Please be sure there's no additive. If you tell me that you want a pour-point depressant, no. There's no pour-point depressant for VLFO. A pour-point depressant will work if you know the origin of the crude. Pour-point depressant works best when the origin of the crude is known. So if you pick up the bunker from Singapore or Rotterdam or India or Houston or Kobe or in Australia, you don't know this thing. So the question is that pour-point depressant only work for 10% or 15% or 20% of the fuel, not for the 100%. Like for MGO, we have a pour point. Irrespective from where you take the MGO, we will ensure that the pour point reduces or the CFPP reduces by 10 to 15 degrees. So the best way to address waxing is heating. Heat her 2 to 3 degrees over the WAT. That's the best solution. Then when you heat her, she will age. That is where the additive comes in. That is where your dispersion stabilizer comes in. She will control the fuel aging. So for waxing, you have to heat. When you heat, the fuel will age. That is where the additive will play a vital role to control the fuel aging. So the other, so in stability, we have distillate sludge, we have asphaltene sludge, and we have waxing. Now we're coming to the last one, which is called combustion. A lot of people say, when we are burning VLFO, we are getting deposit between our piston rings. So from the 40 TBN cylinder lube oil, we go to 70. That is because the 40 TBN has less detergency, so she's not able to remove the unburned fuel deposits on the piston. And then we go to 70, but when you go to 70 TBN CLO, so cylinder lube oil, then we get this calcium carbonate deposit because the calcium content is very high. Then again, after 2 to 4 weeks, I come back to 40 TBN. No. This is related to combustion. This is combustion related. So if you want to treat combustion, you don't only need a dispersive stabilizer, but you need a combustion catalyst. Please see the next slide. The next slide clearly says this is by 2020. It's by an oil major, Exxon. July 2020, he has made a comment. He's saying CCAI is not a good indicator of combustion because in HFO, if your CCAI was good, the combustion was good. In VLFO, it's not. He says CCI is basically calculations of viscosity density. So when I'm selling you VLFO, I'm looking at one parameter only, and that parameter is called sulfur. I'm not interested what kind of middle distillate I'm blending. What is the heat value, the gross value of the middle distillate, whether the middle distillate is a waste from a refinery, like from the tanning industry or from the detergent industry or from the cosmetic industry. I'm just blending it to match a 0.5% sulfur. So they said that even if the CCI is good, the fuel may not burn properly, and you will have issues with your piston rings, and your piston rings may break. This is something by an oil major. And this is in 2020 when we started seeing this issue occurring across many vessels using VLFO. And they say you can do an FIA test, that is a fuel ignition analysis test. It's a very expensive test, and we don't recommend that test for customers to incur that kind of expense. So this test, I would like to say, this test is done by Takasaki. You notice there are two types of fuel. The top is basically regular fuel oil having 3.5% sulfur. This test was done before 2020. And the second fuel oil called base fuel oil A, which is low sulfur. She's got a 1.3% sulfur. Basically, here we're trying to mimic VLSFO. I noticed that the CCAI of both the fuels is nearly identical. That means both the fuels should have the same combustion property and they should burn well. Please see that the high sulfur fuel burns very well, but the low sulfur fuel has a very long afterburn. So the deposits that you're getting on your piston ring is the long afterburn. Remember one thing, VLFO has a large blend of middle distillate. Middle distillates are designed to burn in high-speed engines and not middle and low-speed engine. That is why you have a long afterburn period, and that long afterburn period is causing the deposit. So if you burn your fuel well using a combustion catalyst, you will notice that you will have no deposits, no unburned fuel, no unburned deposits coming in your piston ring area. So it is not this detergency in your cylinder oil that you're jumping from 40 to 70 or 40 to 100 and back again, because you have at a higher one, you have calcium carbonate deposit. So this is it. Understand, VLFO has a longer afterburn. Okay. So these are photographs that shared by some customers. You can see the deposits and the calcium carbonate deposits. Okay, this is a photograph again shared by one. You can see 1 month after cleaning, how the combustion, how the fuel burned, and 2 months after using a combustion catalyst. Just remember, you cannot use a combustion catalyst only. You have to use with the dispersant stabilizer and a combustion catalyst. This is the power of a combustion catalyst. Right from your injectors to your turbochargers, to your waste recovery system, and if you're using HFO in your scrubber, all come out clean. So this is it. Thing, and you don't need to worry about it. It's all visible, it's all calculated, and it's all monitored on both the vessels. So basic summary is that you don't need to move from 40 to 100 or 40 to 70 TBN of fuel oil. You can just use a good combustion catalyst and protect your engine. Your engine, if your combustion is good, your engine comes out totally clean. And if your combustion is good, you will save 2 to 4%. And I will also show you how the 2 to 4% fuel you'll be saving. So this is the power of a good thing. And when you save 2 to 4%, you are actually minimizing the environmental impact of your vessels on thing in light of the CII, EU ETS, and now the Mediterranean ECA that is coming up next year. It's already come this year, but it's going to be implemented next year. The other thing I want to draw your attention is, of course, you have stability and you have, of course, combustion. Look at TAN. TAN, as per ISO 8217 specification, is 2.5. We have seen 80%, 90% of the time, if your TAN is above 0.8, that means within the 2.5 limit, you will have a chemical contaminant. You will 100% have a chemical contaminant, and the chemical contaminant can be phenol, it can be styrene, it can be cyclopentadiene, it can be like chloride, it can be things. So please, you should remember in 2018 when we had the Houston bunker issue, all the TAN in those bunkers were within 2.5 but were above 0.8. And they created issues across maybe 300-400 vessels. It was drastic. So we tell people in your bunker report, if your TAN is above 0.8 but within the 2.5 limit, please get the GCMS test done, because there's a 80% chance you have a chemical contaminant. Whether if phenol will have acid corrosion, styrene will stick, cyclopentadiene will create excessive instability, chlorides will have combustion issues. So each has. So please, this is very important. I put the TAN in. The next slide is the most important. I've summarized in the slide. You may have a stability issue if your viscosity is low in your wheel of below 80 or density is low. Please get the RSN test done to ensure whether your asphaltenes are stable, or you must use a good stabilizer dispersant. I mentioned below our products. You will have a waxing issue if your viscosity is below 80, density below 940, or pour point above 20. Please get the WAT done so your chief engineer knows which is the correct temperature. So sometimes people say, my WAT is 50 and I'm carrying grains. I can't heat. What do I do? I said you need to blend her with other bunker where the pour point is very low to bring down the WAT. So you say we can't blend. We have a policy not to blend. HF10 Plus has proven over and over again that you can blend 20%, 30%, even up to 100%, and she'll keep both the bunker blend stable. That is the power of a good dispersant stabilizer. Okay, so so you must get the WAT done to avoid waxing. Don't wait, because once the waxing takes place, you have to heat that bunker for 2 to 3 days, or maybe as high as even 10 days sometimes. Unwaxing is a very, very slow process. So you don't wait for the problem. Read the bunker report and you can identify the problem upfront. Okay, if your TAN is above 0.8 but within the 2.5 limit, there's a possibility you may have. Now, the people say that, Ritu, I have a chemical contaminant. My bunker is meeting ISO 8217. What do I do? Then I tell him dilution is the best solution. He says, I can't. I said, no, you have to dilute 10% or 20% of the contaminated bunker with fresh bunker. The example I give here, if you give me a cup of coffee with 4 teaspoons of sugar and I take a sip, I get a shock because the sugar is very high. So, but if I pour some more water in it and I dilute my coffee, make it double, make it 2 cups, I will enjoy the cup of coffee because the sugar is normal now. That doesn't mean that the chemical contaminant is not there. The chemical sugar contaminant is there. But because her strength has been reduced, she can't cause any harm to the engine. Remember, a chemical contaminant can only cause harm. Like, for example, if your cat finds above 60 ppm, then only she'll cause harm to the engine. If your water is above 1, then only she'll cause harm to the engine. So what you're doing by dilution is you are reducing the strength of the chemical contaminant, so she cannot cause harm to the engine. That is the idea behind that. And when you're diluting it, use a good dispersant stabilizer to keep the blend stable. If you have piston ring breakages and all that coming, that is related to combustion, you must use a combustion. So this is a very good table that you can share with your chief engineer and tell him, read your bunker report and know that you have addressed these issues with the additive prior to the issue occurring. Okay. Basically, these are our products that we have. This is a very good report because a lot of people can't understand how the product is working. Please see that, please see that this HF10 Plus, which is the combustion catalyst product, has all the components of the stabilizer. And in addition, so it's not that you have to use 2 products. The combustion catalyst product comes with the stabilizer. It has all the components. So you don't need to, I've got 2 products to use. No, it's a single product. And it's been classified or verified by class NK. You can even see the HFO product and even our LSMGO product. And we also have basically a combustion catalyst for your MGO, for your middle distillates, because with ECA Mediterranean coming. In India, we have a lot of people. We have a lot of dredgers on the coast of India. We have a lot of port equipment, a lot of supply vessels using our combustion catalyst product in India to try to make their fleet green fleet. Okay. Basically, this is a very simple. Right from your tank to your injectors. If your fuel is unstable, this is the issues that will occur. The red are the issues, and all those red issues are addressed by the additive. And post injector, all those are combustion related issue. All those issues are addressed by the additive, and all these issues are automatically monitored on board the vessel. And most important, I'd like to highlight here is this load combustion efficiency. A lot of people are doing low load. What happens in low load? The engine is not designed to burn the fuel effectively. It's not that the fuel is bad. It's not that the engine is bad. The design is not designed to have the best efficiency. So when you go to 40 or 35 because you want to save and achieve a CII target, or you want to save fuel, or you want to EU ETS and you want to reduce your EU allowance, whatever the reason is. So when you do low load, what happens? Because of poor combustion, your engine gets messed up. Your turbochargers are coming unclean. Your delta T exhaust turbochargers are showing a drop in pressure, drop in temperature. Your mammometer reading in your waste recovery system is showing that there's a deposit built up, and you have to do soot blowing much more higher to remove that soot because you have back pressure built up. With the combustion catalyst, you'll notice even at 35%, your turbocharger, delta T, delta P are coming out clear. Your injectors are coming out clear. Your waste recovery systems are coming out clear. And if you have a scrubber on board the vessel, the PAH in your wash water, that is your polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon, drops by 25 to 30%. And you'll notice that your smoke, your opacity of your smoke is coming out clear. So if you're having in river penalties, because when you go to China, those will stop. And I'll show you some videos on those. So basically, you can use a good combustion catalyst and this person to address these issues. I want to very briefly touch biofuel, just 4 slides. Basically, you have got B30. I'm not talking about B100. B100 is a totally different solution. I don't want to cover B100 in this. B30. When you're using B30, just remember you have a very high blend of a middle distillate, which is coming from a natural source, is coming from a vegetated natural source. And that over time will create a very high amount of instability. So when people are using B30, a lot of our customers are using B30, VLSFO, they all are using the dispersant stabilizer at double dosage because the instability is coming out at a very high level. So basically, if you're using B30, you need to notice that your heating, your handling, your engine, because you'll have fouling, are monitored on a very on a regular basis. These are photographs of MGO, but in VLSFO, these same issues will come out in a dark color. Unfortunately, fortunately, we don't have, because some of our customers started using with our additives, so they'll not face these issues. These are issues from MGO, which for the last 20 years, our customers have been sharing. You can see how B30 of MGO or B100 of MGO can affect. So you don't want a situation occurring like this. The higher blend of B30, because it's from a natural source, and if you don't do good housekeeping of the tank bottom water being drained, between the interface of your water and oil, you will start having bacteria contaminants, and you don't want that started. So your housekeeping, your heating, your handling with B30 should be more attentive than a VLFO situation. This is a very nice slide. Please see the first VLFO, second VLFO, and third. They're from different areas. That means one may be from Singapore bunker, one may be from Rotterdam bunker, one may be from Houston bunker. They're from different sources. We have done the RSN, and each VLFO has been blended with a different type of biofuel. With palm stearine, with soya stearine, with rape stearine, we have blended it. And you can notice the RSN has really risen quite a bit. Most of them have gone very close to 5. So what we're telling people, if you buy soya stearine from Houston, soya stearine from Singapore, these all are different blends. I noticed that the RSN, so these fuels are very, very unstable. And the moment you put an additive, please see, the stabilities come down to less than 1. Actually, less than it's all come to 0.1 if you look at it. This is a power. If you're using a B30 blend, you have to use an additive, irrespective of your viscosity, density, you have to use. Because it is not that the fuel is bad. B30 is a fabulous fuel. She will achieve your CII rating, your EU ETS rating, your Mediterranean ECA rating. But you have to have consideration she's from a natural source. If a natural source is kept storage for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, or she's overheated or underheated, she will cause. It's not because she's a bad fuel. It is an inherent characteristic. And if you have to understand the fuel, and then you'll be able to address the issue that you may face. Another thing we noticed, this is from our automotive, because we have actually in automotive diesel, we are #1 in the world. And that is how our technology in the shipping is coming. We've noticed that when people are using B30 to B100 continuously in a large earth moving equipment or in a small river boat, because a lot of the your river cruises in Europe are using B100 and B30, and they're using an additive. We notice that if they don't use an additive for like 6 months, 9 months, because of the gradual deposit built up, their engine performance comes down. They have clogging of their injectors, they have built ups in the filters and all that, and the fuel doesn't burn, and they have power loss. And you notice at the T, the moment you put a combustion catalyst, it goes back, she achieves back to full power. So this is our technology. This is our background on with automotive and the small boats and heavy earth moving equipment, which we are getting into the marine, because marine will start using B30 to B100 on a continuous basis now if your ships are visiting in ECA or non-ECA areas because of CII, EU ETS, and of course now Mediterranean ECA. Your Mediterranean ECA. So this is it. So in the next slide, I've highlighted that if you're using a VLFO B30, I would recommend not only a stabilizer disperser, but I would recommend the combustion catalyst to ensure that your B30 remains stable and she burns beautifully without any effect on the engine at all. And the cost of these additives, a dispersion stabilizer costs $1, or combustion catalyst with a dispersion stabilizer costs you about $2.50. The cost is negligible. It allows the engineer to run the engine and not keep cleaning the engine and doing repair and maintenance on a continuous basis. So this is the power of the additive in where your biofuels are concerned. Now we come to the last section of our thing. I'm going to emphasize on the combustion catalyst technology. Okay, the reason I'm emphasizing the combustion catalyst technology is because she will allow your vessels to achieve a CII rating by reducing your fuel consumption by 2 to 4%. She will reduce your greenhouse gases to meet your EU ETS targets and reduce your EU allowances. And now, if your vessels are going to the Mediterranean, which is going to become ECA from 1st May, or they're implementing it from 1st May 2025, your combustion catalyst will allow you to become more environmental friendly. So this is something I've taken from DNV. So DNV has said, there are different decarbonization technologies that you can use, and in the green putty they've given, this is how DNV said this is what you're going to be saving, But I'm going to talk to you about only about the combustion catalyst technology that saves you about 2 to 4%, which I earlier mentioned in your slide, the 2 to 4%. So a lot of people are saying that fine, combustion catalyst technology, but a lot of people are saying I will also use besides the combustion, all the other technologies cost you dollars. You have to take the vessel off hire, put a boss cap or a muse duct, or put a fancy, put a paint or something. And while with the combustion catalyst, and it costs you dollars. Combustion catalyst costs you $10,000 to $70,000 a year, depending on the size of the vessel and how much of bunker you are consuming. So a lot of people say, I don't want to invest in all these technologies because my vessel is about 10 years old or 5 years old or 15 years old, or, I don't invest in these technologies. I'll just do low load. So I said, fine. So the beauty about the combustion catalyst technology is there is no capex. And the OPEX is very less. You can start on Monday morning, stop on Friday. She's environmentally friendly. She's very good for old vessels. If you don't invest in your old vessels because she's already 10, 12 years, no problem. Put in the combustion catalyst technology. From E, she may jump to C. Or D, she may jump to C. You will run the vessel your entire life. It's a sustainable technology. It's your ROI is instant. She costs you less than 1%. Less than 0.5%, but I'm saying less than 1%. She costs you your ROI is instant. It's a sustainable solution, and most important, she's a proven. We have not taken out the combustion catalyst technology today. This combustion catalyst technology is 30 years old. It's a proven technology. It's a technology used by most of our customers, by a lot of our customers across their vessels. And some people say, okay, I'll just do low load. So when you do low load, again we come to back. In low load, your engine suffers the most. So if you're using a combustion catalyst technology at low load, not only is she saving fuel, but she's protecting your engine. Your engine is coming out clean. Your turbochargers are coming out clean. Waste recovery system are clean. You're saving her in maintenance. You're saving spare part cost. I had one customer tell me, after 18 months, he says, my spare part injectors costs have come down by 90%, but I have to change it as per the OEM's guidance. I have to change it because the OEM will say, then your warranty don't hold. So he says, but the injectors have come out totally clear and clean. There's no damage. So this is the power of thing. Some people say, I will use bio. In biofuels you have to use an additive because the biofuels that we're testing now are small batches. When you go to regular commercial, the biofuel quality may start reducing because thing. So this is what is the So this is what we recommend people. In VLFO, please use the combustion catalyst. In HFO, please use the combustion catalyst. And in MGO, please use the combustion catalyst. You can save fuel by using a dispersal stabilizer only, but that will not give you the full impact. If you want to do CII, EU ETS, Mediterranean, you want to do low load, you want to do B30, you want to save money on maintenance spare part costs, the combustion catalyst is the right way forward. The dispersion stabilizer is also the right way forward, but it's a more cost effective. It doesn't address A to Z. It may address A to P, So basically, this is something you'll know better than me. The additive will take care of pre-combustion issues, combustion issues, and your post-combustion issues. You'll get all your purifier, your injectors, your waste recovery system, your turbochargers, all come out clean. So this is basically, it's a very simple technology. It's iron. Iron enters into the combustion chambers and she finds oxygen. She becomes ferric oxide, and the ferric oxide acts like an oxygen donator to C. So wherever she sees C, which is your carbon, she converts that C into CO2. It's a very simple technology. We hold a patent. The combustion catalyst, we hold a patent. We are actually the only company in the world which has the finest combustion catalyst for marine. And that has been certified by Class NK. I'll show you a certificate in the film. You can see the unburnt cenosphere and the burnt cenosphere. She's 90% burnt out. She's light. She's hollow. This is the power of a good combustion catalyst. You can see pre and post without the additive and with the additive, which I showed you these shots earlier. This is a customer of ours in 2016. The reason I took this to show you that we have customers using this product for the last so many years in India too. This is after cleaning in Basra, the first one. And this is photograph taken before cleaning at Paradip after 60 days. You can see the situation is nearly the same. This is the power of a good combustion catalyst. You can see after cleaning in Basra and 60 days before cleaning at Paradip. These are the photographs shared, but you can see how there's no difference between the after cleaning and before cleaning after 2 months. So we have done the FCA test, that's a fuel combustion analysis test, with and without our additive. And with our additive, is seen that the main combustion, the ignition delay, the afterburn period, the acetin all has improved. So this is what we are saying, that you'll save 2 to 4%. Now, who are the other people who are saying that you'll save 2 to 4%? This is a test done by Shell. This is about a 10-year-old test. They have done a test and they've come to a conclusion that with Octomar, with our combustion catalyst, you save 2%. This test is done in a laboratory. So this is a very, very clean engine, clear engine. So there's no issue at all with that engine, you know, but they're not taking the account of the 1% or 0.5% or 1.5% saving in sludge. So they came to 2%. This is a report that they've given to us. This report we share with all our customers who ask for the copy of this report. And then this is CMAC paper number 69. Please see, they've been testing our product combustion catalyst platform since 2000. It's a proven technology. The reason they've been testing our product since 2000, because a lot of in-reverse boats in Europe are using our combustion catalyst technology because they don't want emission. They were using earlier your MGO and your middle distillate. Now a lot of them are using biofuels. So this is it. And even they're saying that when you use a combination of the combustion catalyst and dispersant, you can get up to 3.9% saving in fuel. Okay. This is class NK. When class NK certified that HF10 plus was the best combustion, was the best fuel stabilizer, VLSFO stabilizer in the world, they started testing our product prior to 1st January 2023 when CII came into play. And they came to a conclusion, no product in the world has the, because we hold the patent and we hold the patent for the best combustion, that, and they've come to a conclusion that 3.7%, and very nicely they've issued us a letter with the product names mentioned. They've never done this ever in the past for any product except for Nico Yuka, which is their brotherhood company. This is actually, go to the website, only our product comes. So this is the power of a good combustion catalyst recognized by CMAC, by Shell. CMAC is #1 in internal combustion, by class NK, which is a very reputed marine class. Then, of course, Shell Marine is the #1 marine lab in the world. So this is the power. So the 2.4% is achievable. Now I'll show you some of our, most of our customers have started putting our product in the SEAMP part 3 as a technology to save fuel, and it's been recognized and been signed up by most of the classes globally. So you can see they put in Octomar Ultra HF with a 2 to 4% reduction in saving. So this is a power. It is no more a consumable, it's no more a product, it's no more a fight. It is a technology which a lot of our customers have adopted for saving fuel and keeping their engines clean. This is a customer of ours. He has done this trial in 2022, and he has come to a conclusion that on the first vessel, he got 2% saving. Second vessel, he got up to 5% saving. The difference between two vessels is the 2% saving vessel, the quality of the bunker was controlled with the iron fist. And the vessel 2 picked up bunker as per the charterer's call, I know, as per the commercial call and everything. So he says, this is how I run my vessel. So he came to a conclusion, he's getting 3.8% saving across the fleet of, I think he did it across, I think 7-8 vessels. This is again, he said that his instantaneously, he got 2.7 because combustion catalyst starts burning from the very first second. So you get fuel saving from the very first second. And after 2 months, once the engine is totally cleaned out, the saving will stabilize and the additive will maintain that clean engine status for the rest. This is another customer. He's got a third party to do the testing. He's got close to 3%. Another customer, they did it internally. They did it manual. They got 2%. This is a very important customer. He didn't want fuel saving. He said, I don't want fuel saving. My vessels go to China and I have a lot of in-river penalties. This is without the additive. You can see the smoke is... So you can see it's got a dark smoke. He says now when my vessels enter the China River, they just send a drone and they send me the penalty, and the penalties become very high because they keep multiplying. So this is on 24th of November. Then he showed it on 2nd December. Again, the chief engineer took. That's the first slide. You still got a minor gray smoke. This is with the additive after 1 week. I told the chief engineer, stop using the HFO generator. Please go to your MGO. Same day, same moment he went to MGO. The combustion of the MGO and the HFO with the additive was same. And then after 2 weeks he's taken, it's clear. He says, I have no endeavor penalties on any of my vessels visiting China now. And this is what he's doing. This is on an HFO, not on a VLFO, HFO, but the technology is same for HFO and VLFO. So this is the power of a good combustion catalyst. He says the amount of penalty I'm saving is just equal to the combustion catalyst I'm buying. But he said with the combustion catalyst, my full engine is coming out clean. He says, I'm just happy. I'm not looking at fuel saving. I want my engine clean. So this is a slide that even if you save 2%, you will save 374 metric tons of CO2. Your ship will jump one step up. If she's E, she'll go to D. But a lot of our customers have been getting literally 4% and above, but we tell people at 2%. If you've got a medium ship using 9,000 metric tons of bunker a year, you will save 560 metric tons. This is the power of a combustion catalyst. You will automate. So if you've got an old vessel, perfect. You're a new vessel, perfect. It does not differentiate. But a lot of our old customers who have old vessels said we thought we'd run our vessels for 2 years and we'd scrap her. He said we're going to run her for 8 to 9 years and then scrap at the end of her technical life. This is a EU allowance thing. So the vessel goes from from Chennai to Rotterdam, stays in Rotterdam, goes to Ghent and comes back to Chennai. This is a simple calculation I've done based on the EU allowance price of 28th August. You can see it's a very high expense. And this is what a combustion catalyst will help you save. If you're using MGO, use a combustion catalyst. Using VLFO, use a combustion catalyst. HFO, use a combustion catalyst. B30, use a combustion catalyst. B100, use a combustion catalyst. So basically, we tell people that this is a management tool. Combustion catalyst is a management tool to improve onboard fuel efficiency. If you tell me that I don't have money, and you've got budgetary constraint, then you must use a combustion catalyst, because what the combustion catalyst does, it reduces your fuel consumption, reduces your spare part, and reduces maintenance. If you have budget issue, then you must use a combustion catalyst, but it saves you money at the end of the day. If you want to improve your CII rating, it's a combustion catalyst. You want to reduce greenhouse gases for EU ETS, combustion catalyst. If you're doing slow steaming and you want to protect your asset, you must use a combustion catalyst. And if you've got an old vessel, you must use a combustion catalyst. This technology is effective, it is economical, and it is sustainable. It is a very good technology that we request. So basically something on Innospec, it's a $2 billion company. It's traded on the NASDAQ. We are the only fuel additive company in the world which is traded on the NASDAQ. We are the only fuel additive company that makes fuel right from the drilling of the fuel to the end. In aviation, we are single vendors. Any plane you fly in the world has to have a conductivity improver. There's only one company which supplies to all the planes in the world. That is Innospec. This is a part of our technology, and we just looked at marine. And in marine, we only looked at one bunker, VLSFO. Okay, so this is a part, because we are among the top 3 additive companies in the world. We take out the technology prior to the fuel being launched or the fuel specification being changed. Because of our in-depth technology, one third of the fuel in the world is treated by us. This is the power of our technology. These are some of the oil majors. For India, we've just mentioned Enmarol, but we supply to all the refineries. These are some of our, Mr. Mishra, your MOL is right up over there. These are some of our customers globally, so some of our customers. Because of our in-depth technology and our strong R&D, we are invited and are told to be, and we are on the ISO 8217 Marine Advisory Board. We work with the CMAC, and we are on the fuel board, on the fuel group. Lloyd's works very close with us. Of course, now Class NK has said that you will always work with you because you have the technology and you really know how to address the issues. You're not selling a product. You are selling us a technology, and we give free technical advice to all our customers. He said, you are giving us a solution. Whenever we have an issue, we write to you and you always address the issue to us. So these are our stock points all over the world, and I can supply, and all these stock points allows me to supply to all the ports in its country, except Rotterdam can do all the EU ports. So you'll notice that in Russia, we don't have stock points, Canada, we don't have, and in South America, the lowest is Panama, and East-West Africa, but we have North Africa, and we have at Durban. We actually cover 80% of the major ports in the world. Not 80, I would say 70% of the major ports in the world are covered by us. So I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present to your esteemed group of DMITs, DMETians,
DMETians.
Yeah. So thanks a lot. And if you have any questions, I would, it'd be a pleasure to take them.
So I would like to welcome a very special guest today who has joined us, the new director of DMET Kolkata, IMU Kolkata campus, Mr. Amit Bose, Rear Admiral, retired Rear Admiral Amit Bose, have joined us today in the session.
Yeah, thank you very much. It has been quite an interesting presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, sir, for joining. And now I will open the podcast to everyone. If they have any question, it was such a very interesting session. And when I talk to all the sailing chief engineers out there, these are actually, most of the time, all the issues they are facing is because of fuel related problems. So I guess
Sorry.
Yeah. So I guess people who are actively sailing, or maybe our superintendents, can ask their problems today, and the email, them already email is shared. Ritu ma'am email is here, ritu@enmarol.com. They can also email if they have any queries, and I will also share number if anyone wants to connect directly with ma'am. So if anyone has any question, over to you guys to ask question and make it a session a little more exciting. It has been exciting, and let's take it up notch further. And so open to it. People can raise hand or can just ask question. Fatehbir, you have a question, you can ask question.
Hi ma'am, good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, Mr. Fatehbir, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have a little query. Like, as you mentioned, like when we are mixing 2 VLSFO fuel oil, so we have to take care that viscosity difference of 30 CST means more than 30 CST should not be there. But is there any percentage like we have to look into? Like in what percentage we can mix 2 VLSFO fuel oils to avoid all this sludge related or this problems?
Okay. So first, you can mix VLFO of any viscosity. There's no problem at all. But what I'm saying that if the difference is more than 30 CST, there's a possibility you'll have an instability issue creeping in.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of companies have a policy that they will not blend more than 5%. That's your tank bottom, or 10% your tank bottom, which is unpumpable, right? So a lot of companies have this thing, but in case you are stuck in a situation where you need to do a higher blend, then you must use a good dispersion stabilizer. A good dispersion stabilizer we have tested at 50-50, but if you do a 20-80, 30-70, so there's no problem. But you can't say that I have a very unstable bunker of say 40 metric tons lying in this tank for the last 1 year, and you want to top her up with a fresh bunker. No, I'll tell you to treat that bad bunker first. Okay, but if you're taking 2 fresh bunkers and blending, there's no problem, sir. But a lot of people have a policy of not to blend 5-10, but no, we have seen across the last, I think, 20 years, you can blend bunkers. If you treated her properly, you will not have an issue.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, the thing is that many of the times we avoid mixing of bunker, but sometimes because of this operational challenges or this, all these things, but sometimes because of the long voyage and we cannot transfer the fuels, then we have to mix it. Like I was just reading the BIMCO guidelines, they tell us 20-80 mixing ratio.
Yeah.
With good additives and all.
Actually, the BIMCO guideline should be your guide, because at the end of the day, you have to take guide from the institutes and the OEMs.
Yes.
But we have done up to 50-50 testing of multiple bunkers from multiple sources, and we've not had an issue.
And with which of your additives you are telling about this 50-50% mixing?
So it's the same HF10 plus. It's a dispersant stabilizer.
Okay. And another question I have,
yes.
like one of my master, she is having like scrubber, so we are using HFO.
Right.
So for HFO, you recommend BT25 or this Ultra HF also we can use for combustion improve?
So if you see, Ultra HF is designed for VLFO because VLFO have both heavy and light distillates.
Okay.
While Octamark Complete is designed for HFO, which has basically heavy molecules, like asphaltene. But yes, there are many times because maybe if you don't have the stock or the customer has used HFO, but they bought some VLFO bunker because the scrubber was not working, you can interchangeably use both the combustion catalyst product. But on long term, you must use what is formulated for that fuel. We have customers who are using HFO, but their scrubber stopped working, so they went to VLFO and they had the combustion catalyst product on board. I said, no problem, use it.
So that you recommend BT25?
A BT25 is a dispersant stabilizer, and Octamark Complete is the dispersant stabilizer with the combustion catalyst.
Okay.
Yeah, but BT25 is the recommended what you call first line additive that you can start with.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to add, sorry.
Yes, sir.
For the mixing, I wanted to add one point. Normally, you will have the sample at the lab for your bunker on board. It's good to ask the lab to carry out a compatibility test or a stability test. Take the sample from the supplier who is going to supply to your vessel. Then you are more safe on mixing. Instead of, normally in VLSFO, we also have the policy of no mixing at all.
Yes. So that's a very good recommendation. And I think all customers prior to mixing always follow that SOP that you need to do a lab.
Yes, it's very, very important.
Yes. And most of the labs like VPS, Vishwa, your Phobos and all, have a sample of our product lying always with them. So, it may be only the Singapore or the Houston or labs, and may not all, but only these two locations. And we always encourage the customer, why don't you tell the lab, and those samples lying free of cost over there, and request them to run it for you.
Yes.
I want to make one comment here. You know, some people are of the opinion that you need to use a lubricity improver for VLSFO. Because they feel that VLFO has low sulfur. That's a myth. You do not need to use any lubricity improver for VLFO. Low sulfur or sulfur does not give you lubricity. The reason the lubricity comes out because in the refinery, there's a process called hydrotreating. What the hydrotreater does, she reduces the sulfur in the fuel, whether it be MGO or any other fuel. Okay. And that process is done at a very high temperature and at a very high heat. And that high temperature and heat disturbs or destroys the inherent lubricating property of the fuel. So in VLFO, even that 5% or 10% or 20% of the heavy fuel molecules or heavy molecules that they have or heavy fuel that they have is more than adequate. Please do not use a lubricity improver in VLFO. You do not need it. Even if it has 2% of heavy fuel in the VLFO, is more than adequate. So that's a myth which people think, and that's one myth I want to think. And the other thing I want to tell you is that when you take a VLFO of 20 CST, when a lot of our customers started taking, and I said, you need to stop. So what happens, if your viscosity of your fuel is 20 CST, your injection or your separation temperature may be 30 CST. I'm just giving an example. You know, it may be, say, 30 degrees. For a 20 CST at 30 degrees, you need to get the separation temperature. A low viscosity of 20 CST may have a WAT of 50. So at 30 degrees, if your separation temperature is 30 degrees, she's actually waxing at 30 degrees because her WAT is 50. Am I making myself clear here, sir? So if you buy a low viscosity like a 20 or 30 CST fuel, her separation temperature may be 30 or 40 degrees. And because she is such low viscosity, it's a clear indication that she's got a higher blend of middle distillate. Her WAT may be 50. So you will have to heat her to 50, her separation temperature, to get her to see that she doesn't wax. So that's the other point I want to make. Very low viscosity fuel will have separation temperature issues, have to go up drastically. And do not use lubricity improver for VLFO. That's a myth. You don't need it at all.
We are using it for LSMGO.
LSMGO it's critical. It's critical. It's not important, it's critical, because in LSMGO, if you even get one batch where the inherent lubricity is low and your boundary lubrication will damage your engine, that means your wear scar index, that once that damage occurs, that scar will keep increasing. So if you say, I'm buying LSMGO very well, out of the 12 bunkers in a year, even 1 or 2 bunkers come out bad, that's adequate to ruin. So in LSMGO or ULSMGO, it is very essential to use a lubricity improver.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the answer.
Yes,
I guess Utkarsh has a question, I guess.
Also, I have.
Yeah, I think Anand sir, you can ask first, sir.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, ma'am, for
Yes,
the
sir.
nice presentation. And please provide this PowerPoint so that we can circulate it to our seniors.
I think Mr. Pratik has recorded it. So he'll give you the recording.
The recording is also there, but we will also embed this PowerPoint if possible.
PowerPoint. So
With
that
the
some
recap.
of the seniors is sitting in the offices like Hong Kong office and Singapore
Right,
office.
right.
So we will directly send to them.
Okay.
And my question is that my company is provided one book regarding this unmasking the bunker fuel adulteration.
Right.
So I was reading to that book, and I was found that there is a one point is there, xylene equivalent, because in 2022 mostly this incident damage of the machinery part happened because of the high xylene equivalent. So
High styrene.
yeah, xylene equivalent. Yeah. So, 3 cases, it was found that 45% and 50% and 55%. And what should be, it is the normal range.
Okay, so when you have a chemical contaminant, no
Yes.
one can give you what is the normal range, because there's no extensive testing done. In my experience, I've seen if your ppm is below 20 or 40, there's a possibility you will not have any damage.
Because my doubt is because of that, because what we are sample sending to the BISPA lab and other laboratory, they are providing the set of the datas like density, viscosity, upper power point, water,
Right.
iron, lead, nickel, zinc, potassium, but they are not mentioning the xylene equivalent. How we will identify the xylene equivalent because of the with respect to these data?
So, see, xylene equivalent is not part of your ISO 8217. It is outside that specification.
Yes.
So if you want, your specifications are very well defined with the minimum and maximum. Okay, because they've got extensive testing done over the last 50 years. When you look at xylene or any other chemical, whether you look at styrene or phenol or cyclopentane, whatever, there is no extensive testing done. So if you ask even Vishwa Lab for xylene, he will never give you what is a safe limit.
Okay.
So the safe limit, only thing is that if you have a chemical contaminant and you cannot debunker, then dilution is the best solution.
Yes, ma'am. Here I can show you in the book. They are after the incident, they are uh, doing the test of the this one like the toluene insoluble and xylene equivalent. In all three datas, they are mentioning that xylene equivalent is higher inside. Maybe because this is aromaticity is damaging and this stability is hampering because of the higher temperature. If you are storing the fuel oil at the higher temperature for the prolonged time, so asphaltene is getting deteriorated and it is coming to the this sludge parts, dissipating the sludge.
Right. I think that's a very good statement you made. Heating fuel at a high temperature for a long time. Okay. So when you heat VLSFO at a high temperature for a long time, what happens? The middle distillates will form something called peroxide. You know, that white gum-like substance, peroxide.
Yes, yes.
And you and me can't see the peroxide because VLFO is dark in color. And peroxide liquid, when she burns an engine, she causes something called acid corrosion. And that acid corrosion is what you showed me in that photograph. So that is what we tell people: don't overheat, don't underheat. If you underheat, you'll get waxing. If you overheat, you'll get fuel aging, and fuel aging means oxidation. And when the fuel oxidizes, she creates peroxides. And when peroxides burn, she will cause acid corrosion. And acid corrosion, once she formed, you have to change the part. It ruins the part. You cannot refurbish the part. It has to be changed. The photograph you showed me is that of an acid corrosion.
Yes, ma'am.
And so the thing is, that slide that I showed you at 20 degrees, when you heat, the fuel is stable for 30 days. 30 degrees you heat, fuel is stable for 15 days. That's a very important slide. So for you to heat VLFO correctly, you need to know the WAT, which is not part of your ISO 8217. It is outside. So RSA and WAT is outside. I think so. You need to request it separately. And the WAT is very, 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 very important if your viscosity is low or density is low or pour point is high. And if you can understand these issues, it makes you understand the fuel better. If you understand your fuel better, you can understand what issues she may face and how to treat those issues.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Anand, I don't know whether I've addressed your query correctly. Are you?
No, I understood.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Utkarsh, you can ask question.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, thanks a lot for such an informative session. And also, I would like to thank Prateek Khanna sir for arranging this meeting.
So I would like to mention, like, Fatehbir have arranged this session. I have so Fatehbir is here and he connected me to Ritu ma'am for the same. So we should thank Fateh for doing this. Yeah.
No, it's not about thanking Prateek. It's not about I met Ritu ma'am and I got some very informative discussion we had. So I thought it's better that we share it among our alumni. And it's because every now and then we are facing, even if now VLSFO is in use from last 4 years, every now and then we are facing, like, many of our friends and juniors and maybe seniors, they are sharing us with the things that facing problems with the VLSFO or maybe all this mixing issues and all. So it's always better to have information and this kind of technique. So I would like to thank Ritu ma'am that she took her time and shared all these slides with us.
Welcome, sir, and thank you for the opportunity also. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a question in regards to this. Actually, we are already using this Octamar HF10 Plus on our vessels.
Right.
And we are basically taking it from US. And roughly, we are getting around $14 to $15 per liter of this fuel. Right. For this additive. First thing I want to know about this Octamar Ultra HF, ma'am. What is the cost for this additive? It would be approximate.
Sir, I can give you the listed cost. I don't know who's the authorized distributor you're buying from. The listed cost can run anywhere between $18 and $21.
This is the price in US or India, ma'am?
No, sir. If you notice, we don't have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 pricing. Okay. In India, we are selling her at about $18, but in India, you're going to pay 18% GST. So yes, we sell a lot in India because a lot of vessels are calling India or just on the Indian coast. A lot of your Great Eastern vessels, synergy vessels are picking up on the Indian coast. So we have a lot of customer, and we have a lot of like a lot of your MOL vessels also come to the Indian coast and they pick up. The order comes from Singapore.
Yes.
But in India, the only drawback is that 18% GST.
Okay, and ma'am, one more thing. This is a question in regards to the LNG vessels, ma'am. We have they
Yes.
are mostly running on the LNG itself.
Right.
So the usage of this fuel oil is very minimal. I mean,
Right.
in case we have some gas trip, we have some issues with the gas component of the engine, then only the engine is
Right.
running on this VLSFO.
Right.
So the question comes to that I mean, suppose if we take up the bunker VLSFO, how long we can storage? I mean, the storage time, because normally for one of our vessel we took, and from last 4 months we are not using that bunker. So,
okay, sir. When you're using VLFO, you need to dose at 1:15. That means 1 liter of HF 10 plus for 15 metric tons. If you're going to store her for 4 months, I would strongly recommend to do 1:10.
do you have any circular or any guidelines on for this?
But if you write an email to me, I'll put it on an email back to you. Okay. The other thing is, sir, after 6 months, you need to redose her again.
And ma'am, suppose if you are, I mean, redosing after 6 months, we need to run this transfer pump tank to tank to circulate, or it will.
You can run tank to tank circulation. That is strongly recommended. But if you're not going to use her, then with the rolling and pitching in 4-5 days, she'll mix. Otherwise, tank to tank circulation is our always recommended option.
Okay, ma'am. And one thing, I mean, which when I was working with Shell about this fuel mixing ratio, which we were talking about.
Yes.
There they used to have one kit. Basically, when the bunkering was going on, we used to take a sample from the new bunker and the old bunker sample we used to take. And I believe we were making it 3 composition, like the old oil 25%, new oil 75, then 50-50, and then the 75 and 25 ratio. And after mixing, we were heating it in that instrument at some temperature, and then we were doing the spot test. And those results, we were sending it to our office, and I believe they were liaising with the fuel suppliers. So that when we are mixing in the fuel oil, our settling and service tank, what ratio we should be considered while mixing. So this I have only done when I was working with Shell. I have never seen that instrument ever again. So they were using that for fuel stability. And in regards to that cylinder oil, which you have mentioned for that detergency for BN40, I believe most of the companies, they have came up with a category 2 cylinder oil, ma'am.
Yes, you're right. Which is very expensive.
Yes. But they are addressing the issue of this detergency for BN40.
Yes. So a lot of our customers who would move to category 2 cylinder oil have stopped using it. It's a very expensive fuel. And you must understand that the unburned fuel deposits is not due to the detergency of your lube oil. It is because of poor combustion, because it's a long afterburn. So if you address that issue, you can stick to 40 TBN for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And actually, it is one of my customers calculated. He says it's nearly cheaper to just use the additive and get all the other benefits.
But we are having a myth on this.
Yes.
On our LNG dual fuel, LPG dual fuel, methanol dual fuel, we are using category 2 cylinder oils.
Yes. Sir, because
many vessels are using this 40-70. So 5 days we run on 40, 2 days we run on 70.
Right.
But dual fuel we are not. We are on category 2.
Yes, sir.
Is this correct for us?
Yes, sir. Well, your comment is correct because LNG and methanol demand a totally different lube oil. But VLFO, if you're using a combustion catalyst, because you're addressing the core, the core of the issue is combustion, you don't need to shift from 40 to 70. You just stick to 40 and your fuel will burn properly. If your fuel burns properly, there'll be no deposit between your piston ring.
Thank you.
Because I mean, if you are using even the BN40 cylinder oil on a vessel using LNG as a fuel, even at BN40 we have a very higher calcium deposits.
So you will have, because the sulfur, the detergency is equivalent to the sulfur in your fuel. Now, LNG has what sulfur? Negligible. So you are using a fuel, a CLO designed for 0.5% sulfur fuel. So you're going to use it for a fuel that has negligible sulfur, where the calcium is the product that is nullifying the effect of sulfur. So when the calcium has no SO2 or S or SO3 to react, what is she going to do? She's going to stick onto the surfaces.
Yes, ma'am. And for this reason only, it's very difficult to find the correct BN oil when using the vessel on LNG, because if you have a gas strip, you comes on a VLSFO where you require a relatively higher BN, and on gas you require a much lesser BN.
You're right,
the
sir.
cylinder oil compatibility is also one of the challenges. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for your.
Welcome, Mr. Mishra.
If anyone has any question, then we can. Ma'am, thank you for the amazing session. And it was very, very exciting. And I guess a lot of people would like to re-watch the recording of the session to understand more about VLSFO. And once again, I would like to thank you and Fatehbir for doing this. And thank you, Prakash sir, thank you, Director sir, and thank you to all the seniors who have joined the session today. And if anyone wants contact details of Ritu ma'am, can take from me and connect with me to solve their fuel issues on board their vessels. She'll be happy to answer all your questions and queries, and she'll be very, very happy to connect with everyone. And she's already working with most of the shipping companies based out of India. And so thank you, Ritu ma'am, once again. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Pratik, I wanted to add to this. Pratik, thank you. Fatehbir, thank you. Citadel is maturing day by day. And Dr. Ritu, I must say, I have attended so many forums, but your today presentation will be an asset to our fraternity. The way you took the complete presentation is going to be asset, and we are going to, what they call it, treasure it and share it with all of us. Thank you so much, and
most welcome.
Look forward to see you in person sometime when I'm in Bombay.
Sir, it'll be a pleasure.
And definitely. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again, everyone, and we'll see you next week with something more exciting. Until then, happy Diwali, everyone who has joined. We have a Diwali. Happy Diwali, everyone. Happy festive seasons.
Yes.
So we'll meet after Diwali. Celebrate well. मैं तो सबको यही बोलता हूँ, छोड़ो पटाखा. इतना VLSFO जला रहे हो, थोड़ा पटाखा भी फोड़ दो अगर आप लैंड पे हो तो. ठीक है.
Okay. A very happy Diwali to everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Happy Diwali to all of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.